Hi everybody, Dana here, and if you have been wondering about menopause fatigue, is it real? Is there something you can do about it? This video is for you. And I've got to tell you that when I was preparing to film this video, from my perspective as an herbalist and someone who's used natural remedies to get results with this for the past 17 years, I like to go on Google and see what you guys are seeing when you search for this. I got really angry. This seemed to be a subject that brought up a lot of answers that I felt like were not good things to be seeing when you were looking for help. So I'm going to tell you about what I found. Part of what I found, it's not enough. It's not deep enough. It's not really menopause specific, which is what you need when this is happening. And some of it, this is where I found the biggest collection of the most insulting information that I find when I'm looking about menopause remedies, like articles with quotes by big fancy experts with lots of letters after their names saying, menopause symptoms just aren't that big of a deal. They go away on their own after 2 or 3 years and usually don't need to be treated. So basically just suck it up. And that is not okay with me. I remember a woman that I worked with once, the most fit, active, energetic person I've ever known. If anyone I knew, I found out they were secretly a Title IX model, it would be her, and it wouldn't surprise me in the least. She was so active. And she just shone with energy. And she was young. She had 2 young kids, but she hit perimenopause and she got so much fatigue. She came to me she's desperate. She said, I don't know how people can do just the things they're supposed to do to live their life when they feel like this. She was so fatigued. It was completely overwhelming. And she was just ready to start hormones. She said, I thought I'd just give some herbal remedies a try because they're natural and I prefer that, but I got to do whatever it takes to get relief from this. And she was just starting perimenopause. I'm sorry, but she could have a good 15 years until she's really stabilized post-menopause. She did not want to live feeling like this for that amount of time, people. That's not okay, okay? So we started her on some herbal remedies. In 3 months, she felt completely back to herself. She never thought about the hormones again. It was great. It just worked perfectly. It was just what she needed. We just did a little adjustment. She was back to her usual energy. So yes, this is completely real. Yes, there is something you can do about this. Keep listening if you want to know more. Okay, so today I'm going to share with you not only some of the most common things you're going to find when you look, the causes of menopause fatigue, the basic lifestyle tips that can be helpful, but I'm also going to dive much deeper into what you can do to address the root cause of the fatigue to get much bigger relief than what's commonly offered. That was a long introduction, but I'm Dana. I am an acupuncturist and herbalist. I have been specializing in women's health for about 17 years now, and I specialize in helping women just before, during, and after menopause with customized herbal remedies. That's what I do. So if you want to know about that, stick around. I also talk a lot about supporting your hormones with the best diet and lifestyle for your hormones. Okay, so here's what you need to know about menopause fatigue. If this happens, you're going to know because it's going to be really noticeable. And the first thing that you want to do is just rule out, make sure the fatigue is not being caused by something else. Because if it started right with menopause, there's a really good chance that's what it is. But of course, you can't be sure it's not something else. So some of the most common things your doctor will easily rule out for you are things like anemia, coronary artery disease, diabetes, heart failure, hypothyroidism, kidney or liver disease, something like that. So if you have severe sudden fatigue, you want to make sure it's not something like that. Once they say, no, it's nothing like that, it's probably just hormonal, then we're going to talk about what we can do about that. So how do the hormonal changes of menopause cause this incredible fatigue? Hot flashes are one thing, but why would these hormonal changes cause such extreme fatigue, especially when they don't cause extreme fatigue in every woman who goes through menopause? So hormonal changes can cause some pretty unusual symptoms across the board. Just you need to accept that fact. But what happens is if you get this kind of fatigue, it means that your hormonal changes are not happening in perfect balance. If they happen perfectly harmoniously, you don't get any severe symptoms. So something has gotten out of whack. One of them changed too fast and the other one's lagging behind. One of the hormones dropped too low. Like something happened that wasn't exactly what your body wanted to happen. Something kind of slipped the traces there and, got too far away from the rest of the team. So that's what we need to do, is just bring things back into harmony, continue your hormonal transition more harmoniously, and the severe symptoms will moderate. So that's the big picture. And so the most common things that happen with this is one or more of your hormones just tanked. It just dropped too low, too fast. That's one thing that can happen. Or, like I said, another thing that can happen is your hormones, there's like estrogen and progesterone, they're both decreasing. And if one of them goes down really fast and the other one's lagging behind, the ratio between them gets out of whack, and that can cause a lot of crazy symptoms. So if we make sure none of your hormone levels have dropped too low and we help bring them into harmony with each other, that's sort of the big picture approach to getting to the root of the fatigue in terms of what we're going to be talking about. And there's another way that your hormonal changes can mess with your energy levels, and that is through your sleep, because one of the common things that happens during menopause is we have trouble sleeping. And this is a more obvious one, but if you're not sleeping at night, you're likely to be a lot more tired during the day. So that's worth mentioning as well. So what are we going to do about this? Okay, the first thing I want to cover is the lifestyle basics. This is what you're going to find if you Google, menopause fatigue. And to me, these aren't necessarily menopause specific at all, but I will say this. In case you haven't noticed this yet, when you hit our age, you have to work a little bit harder at feeling amazing. Like, yes, when you were 17, you could drink coffee all day and soda all night and sleep 3 hours and basically feel fine the next day. And that's probably not the case anymore. It's more about eating the right foods at the right times and getting enough sleep and getting exercise. It's just like basic self-care that just makes sense. We usually need to be a little bit more responsible and regular about doing those kinds of things to feel truly amazing at this age. And so some of the ones that are the most related to fatigue in particular: exercise daily. Doesn't have to be huge, but you want to keep your body moving. Limit your caffeine and alcohol intake. These can both affect your energy and your sleep a lot. When you're eating, sometimes it helps to eat a little bit smaller portions. That can actually make a difference with energy levels. It could be smaller portions a little bit more often. It depends on the individual, but it's something to consider. Practice stress management, right? So if you are in a state of high stress all the time, you're going to burn out and end up with some more severe fatigue. So practicing stress management is really going to be helpful. Getting enough sleep, right, is going to be really helpful. Here's one that you might not have thought of, but that I have known women who they were actually doing all the other stuff and they were still getting like super tired for a couple of hours in the afternoon. And this one thing made all the difference: staying truly well hydrated, drinking enough water. So that is really important and can directly affect your energy levels. And you'll see things like, don't overbook your schedule, don't multitask, don't burn the candle at both ends, basically, to help build up your baseline energy levels. So, yes, those are great suggestions if you're having menopause fatigue. Those are great suggestions if you want to be healthy at any age. Those are great suggestions for fatigue at any age. So I don't feel that they're particularly menopause specific. But they are good basic habits to have in place if you're working on your energy levels. So moving on. I also found some herbal recommendations on Google for menopause fatigue, and I just wanted to briefly mention the ones that I saw mentioned the most often, because I think you might want to take them with a grain of salt. They mentioned the two herbs I saw mentioned for some reason the most commonly were black cohosh and valerian. Now, black cohosh is great for helping to sort of build up some of the hormone levels, so that can be helpful, but it's just one piece of the picture, and it's not really an energy herb per se. And then the other one was valerian, which is quite a sedative herb, which when you take it makes you feel sleepy and tired. So I thought it was interesting that it came up so often. And so I just wanted to say, when you see that, it doesn't mean that herb is going to like give you a burst of energy. It's really meant to help you sleep, so that then theoretically you will have more energy the next day. So I just wanted to touch on that because they came up all over the first page of Google. And now I want to dive into some of the menopause fatigue supplements that it's a little harder to find information about that you may very well not be hearing about. Okay, and I'm going to put these all in perspective for you. So the first one, and again, these are things that are going to more get to the root of menopause fatigue. This isn't like an energy pill or a sleeping pill, okay? So the first thing you want to look at, big picture, is make sure that none, could be one, could be more than one, none of your hormone levels are dropping too low. Herbs like black cohosh can help with this. Bioidentical hormone replacement therapy can help with this. This is one piece of the picture, making sure none of the hormone levels drop too low. And of course, I love to use herbal remedies for this. Usually we're looking at herbs from the category of herbs that tonify your watery essence. We call it your kidney yin. And they're herbs that are usually rich in phytoestrogens. And they're cooling and moistening, and they have a lot of properties for longevity and healthy aging, but they're going to be the most specific for helping your body replenish any hormone levels that have taken too big of a drop too quickly. And these are probably the most similar to other like typical menopause remedies you're going to find information about. Okay, the second type of menopause fatigue remedy that I want to talk about is helping your body harmonize your hormone levels with each other, okay? Now, we talked about how if the ratio between some of your hormone levels gets off, like between estrogen, progesterone, that can cause a lot of symptoms. And when you talk about something like bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, the theory is we just put enough hormones in your system and then your body does the rest. Your body knows what to do with them. And it's true that your own endocrine system was designed with a very advanced system of checks and balances to fine tune those hormone levels, to take a reading and say, this one's 2 units too high and this one's 3 units too low. So we're going to adjust them each a little bit and bring them back into the perfect ratio. And then a couple of days later, it fine tunes them the other way. And it does this constant micromanagement, watching what's going on and making these fine tuning adjustments. So your own endocrine system, your own body is very much designed to do that. But I've got to tell you that sometimes it needs a little help, especially during menopause when your hormones are changing so fast. It's like that checks and balances system is working so much harder. It's like, taking your car for a tune-up before you drive all the way across a country, right? Menopause is a big challenge for this part of your body, and sometimes it needs some support to function optimally. And there's a whole category of herbs that can help with this. And they're the herbs that are known as adaptogens. They help your body's own regulating mechanisms to regulate more efficiently. For some women, including these types of herbs, like you can pump them full of hormones and they still feel pretty crappy. They get a lot of side effects from hormone replacement, stuff like that. Sometimes their body, it kind of has hormones, but it's just not using them really efficiently and regulating them really efficiently. So you can actually help your body's own endocrine system to do that. You're not going in and saying, put this one up and put that down. The micromanagement is done by your body, but you can give the system support. You can tune up the system so that it does its work more easily and more efficiently. And like I said, these herbs are adaptogens. Something like maca, which is commonly used for menopause, can help in this way. But also another herb that you see really commonly prescribed for menopause or recommended for menopause is ginseng. And one thing to know about ginseng, while it's a wonderful adaptogen and it can be great for energy, when you're specifically in menopause, like often I will see, like Chinese red ginseng recommended, and that type of ginseng is very hot and drying, which if you're in menopause you probably know is not what you need more of. Whereas even just making a simple change like using American ginseng, that is actually cooling and moistening, even though it has the same adaptogenic and energizing properties. So in the style of herbalism that I do, which is Chinese herbalism and tonic herbalism, we have a huge stable of adaptogenic herbs that we draw from, choosing ones that are specific to a situation, because adaptogens are a big part of what we do. And you can fine tune your choice of adaptogens to help your endocrine system to function better. So that's the second type, is helping your body fine tune those hormone levels. And then the third type of menopause fatigue remedy that I don't think you hear about very often at all, we're getting less common as we go down the list here, is herbal remedies or whatever, but something to keep your energy moving. Because The way I see energy is there's two reasons you can be having fatigue, okay? Number one, you don't have enough energy. Like there's just not enough gas in the tank. That is the cause of some people's fatigue. Number two, like with that woman I worked with who was the most active, fit, healthy, energetic person in the world and just all of a sudden had this severe fatigue, she did not lose all her energy. So what happened? When your energy is stuck somewhere, it's not available for you to use. It's like money in a vault that you cannot take out and use to buy food, okay? The energy is there, but it's stuck. So it's not circulating, it's not available for you to use. That can make you feel very fatigued, okay? So it's really different from not having enough energy. And there are definitely herbal remedies that can help with this. Now, the energy can get stuck for different reasons, so you need to choose the remedy that's right for your stuck energy, but this can be very powerful for menopause fatigue. And there are common formulas like Xiao Yao San, Free and Easy Wanderer that are just basic formulas for moving energy that can be really helpful. But again, this is a formula that's somewhat drying, so sometimes there are other things that can be used that are a little bit more suited to menopause depending on what your other menopause issues are. And so what we come back to is, and I will mention one more thing here, is that when I talk about moving energy, another thing that I like to include in that category is making sure that your hormone detoxification pathways are open and flowing, because that's one place where things can get backed up and stuck. And it just so happens that a lot of the herbs that are helpful for moving energy are helpful for keeping those detoxification pathways open. That is quite important when it comes to keeping your energy moving to help your energy and your body being able to fine tune those hormone levels. If it can't ever bring a hormone level down when it needs to because the outbox is completely backed up, it reverberates through the whole system. So that's another thing that we're thinking about. Okay, so what you're seeing here is that the key to getting really good results with herbal remedies is figuring out, what do you need the most help with? Do you need help with detoxification and moving your energy? Or maybe you are really depleted and you need help with building up your energy? Or maybe you've got enough hormones in your system, but your body's just having a little trouble getting them where they need to be when they need to be there. So it could be a little bit of each. It could be more one than another. One big takeaway is this is the reason why there's not one menopause fatigue remedy that works for everyone. Like that woman I spoke about who had this sudden severe fatigue that happened overnight in a very energetic person at the very beginning of perimenopause. That is a different kind of fatigue than something that's coming on with a lot of, brain fog and burnout, like way far into menopause. So there's very different types of fatigue, and you need the menopause fatigue remedy that's not just for energy, that's for the underlying cause of your particular menopause fatigue. So that's what I wanted to share with you. And if, like the woman that I worked with who had such wonderful results, you want to find out more about how to understand your fatigue and find exactly the things that are going to be the most helpful for it, then I want you to go ahead and get my free resources. They're going to be right below this video. They're things you can download or watch online for free that are going to help you understand exactly how the style of herbalism that I do works with your hormones, and how you can just use that information to find your own herbs, or how you can work with me like in my online program if you want my help getting this figured out and getting started feeling better right away. So again, I am Dana Lavoie. I help women feel amazing during and after menopause using customized herbal remedies supported by the best diet and lifestyle for their hormones. Thank you so much for joining me today and listening to this entire video and my rant about how I got so upset when I was researching for this video. I hope you found it empowering. I hope it gave you a sense of relief. I hope that you found this information valuable, and I really would love for you to be able to feel better. So if I can help with that, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. All right, you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye.